Welcome to E to the Power of Three, a podcast of Bridging the Gap, where our mission is to encourage, equip, and empower every woman on her faith journey with Jesus Christ. Today, we are honored to hear from wife, mother, and ambassador for World Serve International, Julie Neal, as she has a conversation with Angie Getz and our podcast host, McKelty Bloom. In this episode, you'll hear how missions has impacted Julie's personal and professional life, how your generosity toward the BTG Hope Project is impacting women and girls, as well as information about the BTG Global trip to Kenya, which, since this podcast recording, has been filled. However, we'd be honored to have you consider joining us for a future BTG Global trip. I hope you enjoyed this podcast.
Well, Julie, welcome to the podcast. It is such an honor to have you here. And, we've already been chatting and saying we just want to hang out and feel like we're having a cup of coffee. So I'm excited to have you, Julie, and our director of Bridging the Gap, Angie, joining us today. And we're talking all things missions. So I am really excited just to hear more from the two of you about, what missions has looked like in your personal and professional lives, and especially about some exciting upcoming opportunities for our listeners to join us on. But before we get started, Julie, do you just want to introduce yourself to our listeners, who you are, your career, and most importantly, how you got connected to Bridging the Gap?
Okay, great. Hi, I'm Julie Neal, and I have the honor and privilege of being an ambassador for World Serve International. And we partnered with you guys last year at your women's conference, and you guys gave an amazing offering. And for this girl project, for the feminine hygiene, I can't wait to share some of the details of what's already happening, the great things there with your offering. And I started out, I have 5 children. My last 2 are adopted, each from Ethiopia. And when we brought our youngest home, he had a horrible parasite, and we fought it for 2.5 years. I mean, taking him, everywhere, specialists, we just don't really deal with that here. So it was kind of hard to diagnose and pinpoint. And God just really met me there. And I was like, I had resources to get him the tools that he needed, that we needed. And it just changed my whole world about the moms, being the voice for the women over there that have no, resources or, access to what we have here. And it just changed my whole world. It changed the whole trajectory of my family. We do a lot of trips. My kids go with me, my husband, and it really is who we are as a family now. And it's a beautiful journey that we've been on. And I just truly, it's my passion now. And I get to go over there. But I also, when I'm here in the States, I get to speak on behalf of these beautiful people and be the voice of the voiceless, because they are very remote in many areas and locations, and they just don't have the resources. And so that's kind of what started my whole thing with World Serve. And my husband and I put water in our baby's village, and then I had to keep going because everyone needs clean water. So that kind of is where I started. But then once being over there and hearing and seeing, I saw the need for the feminine hygiene products. And it started with a teacher saying it to me, how she couldn't teach when she was on her cycle and girls couldn't go. And I was just kind of fumbling, because I really thought I knew what needs they had there. And I just remembered, I was talking to her, trying to, have eye contact and be in the moment. And I'm also looking at my twin daughters over there playing with kids. And I was just like, oh my gosh. I mean, when it was time for their cycle, we had, the pads, we had the liners, we had the wings, the non-wings, the tampons, the light, the heavy, dark, cups. I mean, we have all this at our fingertips. And it kind of just hit me like a punch, like these girls, these women, they have nothing. And what they're using to try to stop the flow is just unacceptable. And so the teacher can't teach, so the kids are losing out. And then when the girls are on their cycle, they're losing out also. So they're falling behind on their education and a lot of times just drop out. And it goes way deeper than that. The stories and the research that we've done, and just it's catastrophic. So I could go on forever, so I'll kind of stop. But that's kind of where, so I get the honor and privilege to be partnered with World Serve, who does amazing work in Africa, and just speak at, women's conferences, travel, do whatever I need to get the word out there and to be the voice for the voiceless and these beautiful people that it's just life-changing. So
I love that. And, you mentioned something that I want to highlight. You talked about you had this idea, oh, this is what they need. And then you go and you experience this trip and you're like, oh, this is actually what they need. Yeah. And I've heard that from a lot of missionaries, that sometimes we have this idea of oh, they'll probably need, X, Y, and Z. And then you go there and your heart is just transformed, seeing the real need. Is that something that you agree with, that you have seen and experienced too?
Absolutely. And I mean, this was probably my 4th or 5th trip over there. So I'm thinking I have this down. And I think a lot of my first trips are in times, when I wasn't adopting, was bringing what I thought we need, the Western, and not taking into consideration their culture, their needs, how they're set up, and what will sustain them for success. And so, yeah, I kind of thought I had that figured out. And then that just gut punched me. And so along, just kind of fast forward to where we are today. I mean, it's not just me, it was other things, but yeah, there's such a need. And seeing this girl program with World Serve is just a game changer for these girls. And it I want everyone to have the clean water and the napkins. So
Julie, I love how one thing I really love about World Serve is that you guys see a need, and that need almost becomes meeting that need becomes a bridge to be able to present the gospel and bring hope and good news. And I love that World Serve, meets both those needs simultaneously. And man, meeting those physical needs is a bridge to be able to meet spiritual needs as well. And that's one thing I just so love and appreciate about World Serve.
Yeah, I really do. I love everything about it, but that is so true. And we do partner a lot. We're seeing now, even with, we're in the schools with these girls, educating them, but we have churches coming to us and they're like, our women need this. We need this. We'll partner with you. And it's right now, I think our problem is staffing and keeping up with since even last October when we did the, women's conference, just seeing it has just exploded. And, actually kind of when I met with Carol Lund a couple years ago, and we met and just kind of talked about, World Serve and stuff. And maybe that would be something that would be a good fit, or, but it was like a seed planted. And then a couple of years later, here we are, but your offering didn't even have to really be in the ground as seed, because it has already exploded to where we can't even keep up with it. And I think that's been such a fun thing to see, is because sometimes you have to plant a seed and it has to grow and grow for a little bit, but this is we're already harvesting the fruit from that offering. And it has just exploded. And the staff over there in Kenya is phenomenal. And their visions, they're catching our visions, and they're moving and with their own. And it is just amazing. So
Well, I'm really excited to continue to hear more about what it has been looking like and the seeds, like you said, that have been planted. Before we jump into more about the specific project, Angie, do you want to share just a little bit about what missional work has looked like in your life and your experience? Because I know you've been on lots of missions trips and have a huge heart for it. So do you want to just share for a little bit what that's like for you?
Sure. So, I have a real heart for the world, not just for, when I think about my neighbor in terms of, in a biblical sense, I think globally and locally, both. And, I've been on a lot of missions trips over the years, and all of them have had such a significant impact on my life in different ways. And I do want to take a second and just promo. We have a missions trip coming up to Kenya with our Julie Neal here that we're talking to.
Yay.
And we are so excited. We have landed on a country. We are able to go to Kenya, and we'll fly into Nairobi, Kenya on March 29th and return home on April 6th. And if you are at all listening to this and thinking at all that you might be a little bit interested, we would love to have you. We have a Q&A Zoom meeting coming up on August 9th at, it's either 5 or 5:30. I need to look, but we will be sending out an email about that shortly. And then if you want to apply for the trip, you can go to mnbtg.org/trips. So mnbtg.org/trips to fill out an application to go to Kenya with us. And a missions trip will change your life when you set that time aside to serve other people and take a position of humility to serve. God opposes the proud. But man, when you are humble and you fly yourself halfway around the world with the intention to just humble yourself and serve, God can do something in your life like he can nowhere else almost. So it's missions trips change people's lives. I've seen it over and over and over again. It will plant a seed in you that will grow until you pass the doors into eternity. It will change the way you give. It will change the way you shop. It will change the way you raise your kids. It will change the way that you pray. So I love missions. I think missions is a little bit of a mindset, that global mentality that I think as believers, we all need to have. And lastly, not all of us can go, but all of us can give. And so that's what a lot of us have done with the Hope Project this year with the feminine hygiene products in Kenya. And together we have so far raised $160,000. Many of our listeners, you've already given to that. And we just want to say a huge thank you. I know you can't see Julie on this podcast, but she's nodding her head.
Yes.
And a big thank you. But there's still more to do. Like Julie said, there is a lot of work to do yet in Kenya. And we want to keep these girls in school. We want to keep their teachers in school. We want to be able to continue to build that bridge to all of these young women in Kenya. And we want to raise another $40,000 between now and Thrive. So if you are listening to this, you can go on our website. You can give there, mnbtg.org, under the Hope Project, and you can still give there. But I am believing that God is going to place on people's hearts that we are going to raise the remainder of that amount. Our original goal was $100,000 last year at Thrive, and we are so thrilled to have bypassed that and then doubled our goal to $200,000, because we know that God owns a cattle on 1,000 hills. And another $40,000 is there. I know that it is out there. So we are believing for that. So that's my little spiel about missions. And I almost took an offering on the podcast, I think.
I think it is an offering. I think it is.
Like Angie mentioned, we're aiming to raise a final $40,000 by September 30th to reach a $200,000 goal toward the Hope Project Kenya. If you would like to be part of this goal toward equipping girls with a 1-year supply of hygiene products and quality undergarments, educating girls about their God-given identity and perfectly designed body, and employing women to earn a fair wage by working to produce sanitary products, please visit mnbtg.org/projects to find the link to give. That's mnbtg.org/projects to give. Thanks for your consideration.
No, but I love what you say though, Angie, because it's true that I have not met one person who went on a missions trip and wasn't transformed in some way. And even if that is just the experience and just their heartbreaking and humbling in realizing that these are people, they're people that we're helping. These are God's people, or they come back and their heart for giving in missions has changed, or their heart for teaching their kids about missions, and they're sending their kids and teens to go on these trips to truly be transformed in a lot of ways and experience this. So going on missions trips is just one of those things of understanding that we are so small in this world that God has us in, and his heart is just huge for so many. But to talk again about the specific, Hope Project Kenya, that, like you said, Angie, we announced this at Thrive this last October of 2021. And I've been going to Thrive for about 4 years now, and I've never seen giving like this. I have never seen people's hearts just completely break and grow 5 dimensions at the same time, and wanting to help these girls and wanting to just pour into this community. So Julie, could you just share a little bit? We kind of alluded to it's feminine products that we're giving to these girls so that they can stay in school, that they stay out of, sex trafficking due to that. But what is this giving really going towards, and how is it helping this community?
Well, it is, I'm telling you, first of all, Minnesota is rocking it. I don't know what you guys have going on there, but your giving and the way you guys love and show up is unlike really anything I've seen in a long time. So, I just really thank you for your, obedience to the Holy Spirit and the listening and just really catching, the heart of God. I really feel like that this is honestly a game changer for girls. And, they have needs just like we do. They're people, they're humans, they're each have a story. They're amazing. But, a lot of people are like, why global? Like, why'd you adopt global? Why do you do global? Because first of all, God's, called us to do it. But, they're not even on our playing field. They're worried about their next, they're selling themselves in prostitution to figure out how to get money to stop this embarrassing flow. It's not talked about. It's shameful. So this happens a lot of times and they think there's something wrong with us. We've heard story over story of girls hanging themselves, killing themselves. They sell themselves, the ratio that they prostitute themselves to get the money the stories are just, endless. And, it's finally like enough's enough. We have to do something. If you're constantly worrying about where the next thing's coming from, you can't even function as a person and as a kid to have even. And girls need it, women need it, everyone needs it. But, this offering has really paid for the staffing of the factory. So we have a new factory in Kenya. It can produce 12,000 pads an hour, which is crazy. We don't have near the staff to keep up with that and to package and sanitize and, get all that, but the capability is there. So we could cast the net even wider in the future. So I feel like that's going to be, it'll play off of that and grow bigger and bigger. But right now it's paying for the staff. It's, and it's not just, it's all women in the factory. One lady's like a refugee. even helping them as much as they're helping us. And I feel that's the same way about a mission trip too, is that I receive as much from it as the people that we're going to love on. And that's just a win-win, getting off on the mission trip again. But so what it does is we go into the schools. Now we're being invited into churches. We give monthly, the napkins, they're called Sifa pads in Kenya. We give those with undergarments, I think soap and maybe a comb, and then educate them on their body and that there's nothing wrong with them and it's not a bad thing. And that just to really be okay and with the skin they're in and to be there to help them just so they can function as normal, girls. And, because they have to hide out basically, and they're sticking things up there to stop the flow that, just sticks, leaves, dirt, mud. They'll dirty stuff. It's just, we don't even think about it here. So that's what we're really focusing on is the schools, the girls, and educating them and just really changing their life. It's a simple thing, but it's not. It's huge. It's huge. So
it's just like you said, it's such a simple thing to us to think about. We just run to Walgreens real quick. We just don't even think twice about it. And what I really like is that you guys are not just providing, but you're doing the education, because I think that is such a huge piece. You're educating, you're providing, and you're also providing job opportunities for the women that are in the factory. Right. That's amazing.
And so we really educate the school staff as well, because, like if we went in like on a mission trip and just did the thing and left, there's questions. There's people that didn't get it. They need help. They didn't quite grasp it. So we're educating the staff in the schools also to where they can answer those questions. And it's just exciting how now that we're starting this project, it's already up and running, but how everything's coming out and needing it and wanting it. And it's just going to keep growing and, really helping so many people that I think we kind of had a tunnel vision when we first started, but it's just, God's just blown the doors off of it and just really taken us to places that is only he could, do. So, but that's, And I feel like also with this trip, getting back with the trip, I would really recommend you bring your daughters if you have daughters or someone like that, because I'm telling you, being there with my girls, my kids, that's life-changing for us as mother-daughter too. And experiencing that together, it has changed my kids' life. That, one of my girls in particularly is, taking off on her own projects, through World Serve and getting things going on. And it's, and I think seeing it is, unless you're there, it's really hard to really put it into words, but you're really being the hands and feet of Jesus too. So there's nothing like being in his presence and doing his work and loving and just seeing, what all he's working in. It's just, it's amazing. I can't say enough words about it, but I really strongly encourage everyone to at least think about it and go, because you can't get time back and you can't get memories back and you can't get this experience that really could change. It changed me when I say that. It changed me. And I think sometimes there's a stigma with missions. You go and you put a Band-Aid on, you're not. You're really, I try to tell the team in the beginning, you really can't measure just what your presence there. They don't want your presence that you bring. They want your presence. And just knowing that people come and give their resources and really pour into them is, it is such a beautiful relationship with these sisters in Christ, sisters that we're loving on and trying to, halfway around the world. It just bonds you together. And it's a beautiful relationship.
Julie, I am so excited about our trip.
I know, I can't
I'm
wait.
so excited. I'm so glad you mentioned bringing your daughter, because I've talked with several moms that are kind of like trying to decide, do I bring my daughter? Do I not? And we're recommending that, your daughter be at least 12, 13 years old.
Right.
I have a 15-year-old that's going to come with us. She'll be 16 by the time we go. But I am so excited to just get to experience that with her, especially with the nature of our trip, visiting schools.
Yeah.
I think that these young women, these future leaders, these girls that we bring alongside us, I think are going to be so powerful in those settings, and they will grow by leaps and bounds.
Leaps and bounds.
So yeah, I'm so glad I totally forgot about that, to mention that, about bringing your daughter if you can.
Yeah. And it's, I feel like we're still kind of working on the agenda and stuff, but things that you can expect when you go is you can work in the little factory, like packaging those, maxi pads and partnering with a lady that's in there working it and helping alongside her, we can, go into the schools and distribute them and, play. And we talked about doing some activities in the schools and kind of just being open to what God has for us. And then we want to do a women's conference, which is even more fitting now because we have churches coming to us begging for this and wanting to partner, and then they can take it and run. And it's, and we're going to go on a safari. Kenya has an amazing safari. That's a little fun day because you do work and pour out, and it's mentally, it's great. But one day you need to take time off and then see God's beautiful country. And if you're in Kenya, you got to do a safari. So,
oh yeah.
So we're there, we're doing a lot of good, but we're also it's going to be an amazing time. So.
Yeah. And a variety, it sounds like, from being in the factory, working, from going into schools and seeing the actual girls and being able to experience that. That sounds amazing. And
we want to go to, some of them are kind of rural, but we want to go to as many schools and get our hands on as many, touch and love on as many people as we can. So, it's going to be amazing. Every trip I go to, I say is the best. So
I'm sure for you, they are. All of them are the best that you get to experience. But
I do love it. So yeah. Yeah.
Well, I really encourage anybody listening to look online. Angie gave that link. And again, we'll have the link in the show notes to just read more about what the trip has to offer. And you guys are still in the works of finalizing all those details of, what the agenda will be, but tuning into that Q&A in August, just even if you have questions and you're not sure, if you're feeling that nudge, to follow that nudge, follow that instinct. And I've never heard someone regret going on a missions trip. So it's just one of those experiences that,
and it's safe. We do take you, you spend the night in hotels that are safe. The food, is made for Americans. We have this down to where it is, really safe. So I just want to kind of, if anyone, a lot of them, I think, have fears, and you think of going into Africa, you're going to sleep on a bed in a nice, you're going to have a shower and a toilet that flushes. So,
the AC. Yeah.
So it'll be fun and safe and a life-changing experience. So.
Well, Julie, you can tell just even from this half-hour conversation with you that missions is just your heart, and it radiates from you. And I really hope that people can come and experience this and truly, just like you said, be the hands and feet of Jesus. And we're not going to think people have, you alluded to this a little bit, that mindset of like, oh, we're going to come in and just put a Band-Aid or just, quote, save everybody, but you're coming with a humble heart of I'm here to learn and to serve. and having that mindset. But any final thoughts from the two of you, just to encourage people who might be on the fence or just really like unsure? What's just kind of a final piece of encouragement that you have?
Oh man.
Well, I kind of see it, if you're feeling a nudge, sometimes you just have to take a step in faith and just, because honestly, I did that with adoption. I was terrified and I was, but even up to the night before I went to pick up our first one, it has changed the whole trajectory of my family in ways that I can't even begin to explain. So if you're feeling that nudge, that's the Holy Spirit, and you're missing out if you don't step out into faith. When they were carrying the ark through the water, they had to step in the water first before it parted. So you're going to have to step out into faith. And I can't say that anyone would be sorry that they went on this. And I think even just to see, your offering that you guys took and see the works and how it's already, just exploding. And that's a great honor to be able to be there and see it firsthand and not just give, but do. So I feel like that's a great combination.
Yeah.
And what do you think?
I'm just going to amen Julie Neal right now. I'm just going to give a big amen. Exactly what she said. Yes. Step out. If you feel that nudge, step out. You have one life to live that God has given you. And so if he nudges you, you act in obedience and take one little step and then take the next one and the next one. And man, there's no safer place to be than in the center of God's will and his nudging.
Right. So, that's right. And Angie and I are crazy and we're fun. So just come along with us.
The trip, no doubt, will be fun. We will have a good time.
Exactly. So
I've been to Africa. We were in Rwanda, which isn't, every country's unique. Yes. But man, in Rwanda, the people there are so excited. We're just so excited to have us there. Yes. And we're so much fun and so full of joy. And I just know that we are just going to have a really, really great, fun, blessed, anointed trip. I can't wait.
I can't either. So join us so you can go with us.
Oh, amazing. Well, thank you so much, Julie, for popping on here today with us and just talking all things missions. And like I said, I felt like this last year, this project, this giving, it just had Minnesota women just all in and helping. And it was so amazing to see and to continue to see. There's still plenty of time to give. So if you are wanting to give a little amount, a big amount, it doesn't matter, anything helps. So feel free to do that on our website. But
thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of E to the Power of 3. We were honored to hear from Julie Neal on A Heart for Missions and the Hope Project. Learn more about Julie and World Serve International at worldserveintl.org or by following World Serve INTL on social media. You can also learn more about Bridging the Gap's missional efforts, give toward the Hope Project, or let us know of your interest in being informed of future global trips at mnbtg.org/missions. Thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to being with you next time on E to the Power of 3.